Hello everybody, my name is Corey Beepington. A year ago, I created this weird little fan film called Eviction Day, which, is now almost a year old, or perhaps a year old post-time of recording this audio log. Anyway, I have no big special video planned for it, or some special cartoon or something, as I've been very busy with things recently. So, I figured I'd do a fun little Q&A to talk a little bit about the, production aspects of this video and what went into it. So I asked you what you would like to know, and I've selected a few questions I would like to answer. There's no script. I'm saying this all pretty much impromptu with minimal editing. And yeah, I didn't pick all the questions that were asked, as some of them were asked multiple times. Some of them were just weird gobbledygook I couldn't answer. And I much rather would answer technical questions about this short over the lore questions about it, as I'm not Toby Fox, and the fun part of art is leaving things up to interpretation. So sit back, grab that memorabilia of your closest friend who no longer is your friend anymore, and enjoy the show.
What inspired you to make this, and why blue?
It all starts with a single image. Or rather, whenever I decide to make a new film or just a new project in general, it usually starts with a single image that loudly bass boosts itself into my head at an unexpected time. It can happen while I'm listening to music, while I'm riding a bike, or just randomly at 3 in the morning. As for this short film, I remember I was listening to the song Lacrimosa by Mozart because I love classical music, and classical music is responsible for so much of my work. And suddenly I had the image of the blue Addison from Deltarune walking into the room Spamton was evicted from and seeing something absolutely horrifying. And this single image for some reason just compelled me so much, which leads me into answering why the blue Addison. I feel like everything about Spamton that we know so far has already been said and done, and the blue Addison remained this character that not a lot of people have talked about. You'd see some stuff about the pink Addison, but nothing about this blue Addison that has lore and has story and has even history with Spamton. I really wanted to just explore this character that not a lot of people really talk about, but I feel is integral to the plot. Considering how they're basically a throwaway NPC in the game as well, I felt that I could kind of go in with a lot of wiggle room and just make stuff up based on things, and wouldn't feel too bad about it being lore inaccurate or whatever, because this character is, well, they say 2 lines of dialogue, and that was compelling enough for me to make a whole short film about them. I love them dearly. I think I actually draw this character more than I draw Spamton. Next question.
Was there anything specific you were trying to push yourself with as an animator when working on this project?
Pushing myself and my abilities was another reason I really wanted to make this short film. I really wanted to get better with slower, subtler acting. Knowing I had to complete this film within like a year because I really wanted it done before the deadline of the Undertale anniversary, I really wanted to push, can I get a lot with a little? Or rather, can I use very limited animation to convey a lot of emotion? And I think I did that pretty successfully in Eviction Day. There's a lot of just close-ups, there's a lot of just economical frame space, because this film was completed mostly in 3 months in terms of animation. And another thing I really wanted to push was my post-production process, as I was about to go into my senior year at school, and I was making this mixed media film, and I wanted to get really good at compositing because there'd be so much compositing on this new film I was making. In fact, this film is done now, and it's thanks to Eviction Day that I think it came out really, really good. Eviction Day employed the use of using these textures, using a lot more coloring and lighting than I normally did and stuff, and it was me getting really wild with mixed media. Did you know all the instances of Spamton in the flashbacks is actual stop motion that I had to post-process in there? Yeah, check it out. Here's all the puppets I made for Eviction Day. They're really cool. And it was fun to really put stop motion in a film like this for the first time. I had a lot of fun with the post-production of this film, no matter how much it made my computer want to commit unalive while I was doing this. I think this short was a massive leap in terms of my improvement as an animator and post-production artist, as up until then I had never really made a truly original like this before, from start to end. I mean, yeah, I have Please Stay Tuned, but I'm still kind of working on that one. So this was a really fun run in just making a film. It was even more fun that I got to kind of work with my friends to make this film come to life. Working with your friends is always a lot of fun.
Are there any deleted scenes or unused concepts and ideas that didn't make it to the final video that you would like to share with us?
Yes, actually. The diner scene in the opening was originally much longer, and it had the Addisons conversing, where they were just talking about Spam Tin, and then Yellow would come in running and say, "Oh my gosh, guys, you're not gonna believe this." And then Blue would get really nervous about it, and then Pink would kind of start being really mean and talking about, you know, their relationship and how that all went down. And then Blue would see Spam Tin across the table, similar to what happened in the final film, and then storm out to go check on Spam Tin while Pink kind of laughed at them in the distance. I'll be real, it wasn't very interesting at all, and it was very long and convoluted, so I thought up a shorter, more visual, more horrifying scene to do instead. Additionally, I kind of wanted to soften the relationship more between Pink and Blue, and the scene where Pink walks out after Blue somewhat foreshadows the scene at the end of the film, which I really wanted to go for. So that scene ended up never leaving the script version, and I would love to read it to you, but that computer stopped working and the script is now lost media, so it is gone forever. Sorry, guys. As for another cutscene, if you've seen the animatic to this, which is now uploaded and you can watch it whenever, originally the garbage noise scene was significantly different, where instead of it being one cohesive scene, it was a bunch of flashes of random symbolic imagery, and at first I thought it was cool. Then one night, Marine Flames, who did all the wonderful backgrounds on this short, messaged me and said, "Hey Corey, I kinda hyperfixated a bit, and I thought about this version." Now, Marine makes really good boards, and they made a board version of this sequence that was so much cooler and just nicer, and took the things that I had already made and just made it into this cohesive scene that you see in the final film. I actually remember my jaw dropping when I first watched it, and for like a week I just kept watching it on loop. It was just so much better. A lot of people remember this part of the film, so I'm really glad we went with this instead of what we originally had.
I love the mural scene. Can I get more details about it?
Oh baby, it's time to talk about the mural. Now, the mural was the reason I wanted to make Eviction Day. It was the thing that I saw that made me create the film, my dear muse that touched me from the heavens and said, "Spampton." I knew that I had to make this mural amazing. Though, fun fact, when I first created the animatic, I would show my friends and people to test view it, and weirdly enough, a lot of them didn't like the mural shot and suggested I removed it for, you know, time, or it just kind of broke pacing, or there were a lot of complaints about it, but this was the reason I wanted to make the film, so I said, I'm gonna do it anyway. And I did. And that seemed to be the right move, because everyone talks about it. I've seen fan art of it, and it was the most asked question in this Q&A. So, to all my friends, I love you all. But you guys were all wrong. You should let me make more bad things. Please don't let Corey make any more bad things. They've done enough damage already. Making the mural was a big process, as it involved the work of about 3 different artists. I actually probably had the least amount of involvement on this, as I just said, yeah, make it look like this. The real heroes are my friends Zelani and Liv, who concepted the rest of the mural. They started by making some thumbnails. As for the artistic inspirations, We looked at a lot of church paintings, specifically that of Jesus for some reason. Like, a lot of Jesus went into this. You are literally not gonna believe what our server name for creating this project was called. It's a long story. We also took a lot of inspiration from the works of Francis Bacon, specifically this piece. We wanted this piece to feel insane, crazy, yet beautiful at the same time. Liv was responsible for making the general color palette of the piece, and then Alani was the hero in painting this gorgeous final piece. I really couldn't have done it without them, and I'm so thankful that I got to work with these two. They are two amazing artists. By the way, Alani just made a short film of her own, and you should go check it out. It's called Above the Clouds, and it's so cute and adorable. Please check it in the description. Thanks.
What are the most difficult parts to animate?
Anytime there was a mixed media shot with the Spamton stop-motion puppet, I knew I was in a world of pain. It took a lot of effort to just get it to look cohesive, as it was often shot under a lamplight in my basement, and getting that light source to look good with everything else in the short was a lot of effort, so doing that was hard. But if there's one shot that made me want to rip my hair out, it would be this shot. You were probably expecting a bit of a different shot, but from an outsider, this shot may look simple, but from the person who made the shot, let me tell you about the hell I encountered with this one. First of all, you have a personality full-bodied walk cycle, which is hard to do on its own. Second of all, you have 5 other characters in this shot, all of which are interacting with each other in some way, shape, or form. Remember how I mentioned the stop-motion puppet? Well, they're in this shot twice. And speaking of lighting, the lighting in this shot changes 5 times. Setting that all up in an After Effects file made my computer want to commit unalive really badly. It would crash so many times, and rendering this shot, like, my computer made sounds I don't think a computer is supposed to make. In total, this shot probably took about a week and a half to do. Took about 3.5 days to animate everything, and then just a week post-processing it. It was a monster of a shot, and it will probably go unnoticed with many of the other shots in the film, but this was the hardest one. I actually animated it live on stream, and it was fun to do, but very painful. Would not do it again.
Is blue a bit fruity?
Yes! It's about time I talk about the real reason I made this short. This short, besides being a cool thing, was actually very thinly veiled spam blue propaganda. Because when I first got back into Deltarune last year, my gay little TV self needed to find someone to ship Spamton with so I could feel something for once. Sadly, at the time, it seemed most of the ships that existed were either people that Spamton had said he canonly hated, or people who just hated Spamton. And then I thought, no, there has to be someone. And thus began my quest, so I started to dig, and I dug deeper, and deeper, and deeper. And at last, I found my answer in the form of 2 lines of dialogue in the garbage zone. Holy frioli! It's crumbs! It's crumbs! These 2 had something! Oh my god! Oh my god! Anyway, for the actual short, while I do ship these to, like, FedEx, I wanted to keep the shipping parts of it a bit more minimal, as it is sort of a rare pair, and I wanted to keep it a little more up to interpretation, as I felt if I pushed the shipping aspect of it too hard, it would sort of break the illusion, and there's some people who don't ship this ship, which is totally fine, and I didn't want to make it too forceful, so I kept it a little more on the subtle side.
Were there any considerations for someone to voice Spamton in the short?
Spamton is actually voiced, but the process of how he got a voice is a little bit funny. So originally he had no voice at all, but while I was editing the film, the part where Blue approaches Spamton felt really quiet and empty, so I needed to phone in a Spamton voice. Now, Marine Flames does a really fun little Spamton impression, so I knocked on their door at 3 a.m. and asked them if they could just, like, do a Spamton impression, and, a few people have actually, delved into the deeper meaning behind, what Spamton says, as they seem to have figured out it's been reversed. So, it's been a year. I'm going to now divulge what was actually said in the video. Hey, Marine, I need you to voice Spamton. Can you just say whatever you want? I'm gonna revert it and, distort whatever you say anyway, so just say anything, I don't care. And then they sent it back, and they said, they just kind of said the poem from the, Spamton sweepstakes. That's right, there actually wasn't a meaning, and there's nothing hidden in it. But I appreciate everybody who took the time to try to decipher a deeper meaning out of it. This is why making art is fun. Fun little things like this. To anybody who tried to interpret it, I love you all. But yeah, there was never a meaning. Sorry, future Matt Pats of the internet.
Do you think there is a chance of seeing more Spamton related content from you?
What if I told you that there was another Spamton short that I never made? Yeah, so, originally I had the choice to make 2 of them. I had Eviction Day, and I had another short planned that was more focused on the Spamton Neo encounter, complete with some really gnarly body horror. But I ended up making Eviction Day at the end of the day. I did recently dig out the original concept for this Neo encounter, and I actually wrote a script, and the entire short has been very roughly boarded. However, around there, the email came out that new chapters would be releasing soon, and additionally, I got really busy with other responsibilities like getting a job, which I now have a freelance job at the time of recording this video. And my pilot, Please Stay Tuned, is now coming, and I need to work on that. However, like I said, Chapter 3 and 4 are coming up, with new characters, new Blorbos, and new stories. And by golly, if that main character is a TV head, we all know how I feel about those. So while the Spamton saga may have come to an end, the Corey makes an unusually high-quality animation about a character that they hyperfixated on saga will probably never end. Ever. Well, except when I run out of money or time, because geez, these things take a while to make and can get expensive. In fact, did you know I make a pilot and that's like taking up a lot of time? Yeah, that's coming out eventually. But now it's time for the Patreon plug. So if you like stuff like Eviction Day, and like I said, new chapters, meaning I could probably do this again if I have the time and the money, consider contributing to my Patreon and you can keep funding shorts like this, as I now have significantly less time to make another thing like it. So yeah, if you like my cartoons and want me to keep making them at the high quality that I can, consider contributing to my Patreon. You can find a link in the description below. And that's gonna do it for the Q&A. I hope you learned something about the wonders of animation, and I'll see you next time I make some weird video like this. Happy anniversary, Undertale and Deltarune. I can't wait to see what happens next.